Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bet the Birds, the segment where we help the public decide how to bet the Birds week in and week out against the spread. Eliot, you're on fire. 7-1-1 on the year. I mean, you're doing all the research for us. You just give us the pick and we play it. So I got to ask you, this week, Chiefs, Eagles, a rematch of Super Bowl. Who we got? The line is -2.5. The Birds are underdogs for the first time all season. Who you got in this matchup on Monday Night Football?
Well, I'll start by saying this. I do not believe this is the last time we will be talking about this game. I expect to be out in Vegas talking to you about the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. So I believe this is a Super Bowl preview of what we are going to see at the end of the season. That being said, I do not believe the Eagles are going to win this game. I think that if you look at these two teams, they're built very similarly. They both win at the line of scrimmage. They both have a great quarterback. They both have a great head coach. Almost every week me and you talk, it is the Eagles have the better line. The Eagles have the better quarterback. The Eagles have the better head coach. And I think that what you saw in last year's Super Bowl is it matters when you have the better quarterback and the better head coach. And as of right now, the Chiefs have that in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I believe the Eagles are capable of beating the Chiefs. I do not believe this is a game that they have no chance to win. I just think when you look at these two teams, they're so evenly matched that I believe being in Kansas City, coming off a bye, Monday night, the Chiefs have the situation on their side. So they're 2.5-point favorites in this game. The Chiefs are. I do believe they'll cover that. So you might not want to tail me this weekend if you're an Eagles fan, but I believe that the Chiefs will win the game and they'll win it by more than 2.5.
Wow, this has got to be a very, very strong opinion from Eliot Shorr-Parks. Giving up the Eagles at plus money and the chance to be He's turning down the underdog bet. Wow. So you're riding with the Chiefs. You're riding with the Chiefs. You're going to lay the 2.5 points. You mentioned coaching. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so prior to last year's Super Bowl, a lot of what I heard was of the 53 players on the roster, you would take more on the Eagles than you would the Chiefs. And of the 22 starters, you would take more players on the Eagles than you would the Chiefs. And that's true. The Eagles do have better receivers. They do have better corners, I think, although it's closer than it used to be. They have better safeties. Like they are very close on a lot of things, and the Eagles have the edge. The only difference is the Chiefs are very good at the line of scrimmage. Like people overlook that in the Super Bowl. Right now, the Chiefs have allowed the fewest sacks in the NFL. They're number one in pass rush win rate. If you look at Pro Football Focus, the Chiefs offensive line is responsible for the fewest amount of pressures in the NFL. So they are not a team that allows pressure on the quarterback. The Eagles win by getting pressure at the quarterback. And then on the offensive line, I believe the Chiefs have a really good defensive line. They're top 5 in hurries, top 5 in sacks, top 5 in quarterback hits. So I get that the peripheral of the field matters. A.J. Brown is an impact player. Devontae is. But the game is decided at the line of scrimmage. And this is maybe the only team in the league that can match up with the Eagles right there.
Well, you mentioned coaching, and maybe the Chiefs have the edge when it comes to coaching. You also dropped a bomb on Twitter earlier today about Desai and maybe holding back on his defensive scheme if he thinks he's going to beat the Chiefs. Do you care to elaborate on that just a little bit for the people?
Yeah, I would ask anybody out there that disagrees, what matters more, Week 11 or the Super Bowl? You don't get many chances to trick Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You probably get one. You definitely don't get two. If Sean Desai has studied Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and feels he has something they have not seen, a package that he believes will slow down the offense, a way to stop Travis Kelce that no one else has tried, a matchup he thinks they can exploit, I would hold that from Monday night. Don't show the Chiefs your best plan, because you're going to see them again. This will be the Super Bowl rematch. I believe the Eagles are going to get there. I believe the Chiefs are going to get there. And frankly, the Eagles should believe that they are going to get there. So if you think you're going to see this team again, don't give your A plan. You can lose this game and be the 1 seed. You're going to beat San Francisco. You're going to beat Buffalo. I think you probably beat Dallas and Seattle as well. The 1 seed is yours to lose. Don't waste a good game plan that could cost you a ring on Monday Night Football when you might need it on Super Sunday.
Now, in last week's episode, we talked about this being the MVP Bowl. The winner of this game that may, show up the other guy, if you want to say it that way, if you want to say outplays the other guy, is going to win the MVP of the league. Are we still feeling that way heading into Monday night?
Absolutely. And I would say that if you think the Eagles are going to win this game, I would put in your bet now for Jalen Hurts to win MVP, because the odds that you're going to get now when it comes to MVP and when it comes to Eagles Super Bowl odds are going to look different if they win this game. When you wake up Tuesday morning and you open the Parks app, you're not going to get as good of odds. So I think on Monday night is going to have a massive impact on who wins it. It's head to head. So we know that'll have an impact. But let's be honest, the MVP voters just basically go off of what they see on the national spotlight. MVP voters are not watching every game of every player and every snap. That's not what they're doing. It's the big games. It's the spotlight games. It's the games everybody's talking about. That's what Monday night is going to be. So I believe if Jalen Hurts goes to Kansas City and outplays Patrick Mahomes and they win that game, the MVP becomes his to lose. But if they don't, then I think we'll probably see Patrick Mahomes get it. But whatever you think the outcome is going to be, if you want to cash in on Hurts winning the MVP, I would maybe, we do just sprinkle a little bit on MVP right now, because I think that those odds are going to be very different on Tuesday.
Well, the current NFL championship odds have the Chiefs at plus 450 and the Birds at plus 525. The odds are hovering right around 500 plus 550 for the Birds. You're saying this may not really come into play in terms of who's going to win the Super Bowl, but what do you think about taking a future right now on the Birds to win the NFL championship?
Well, if you think the Eagles are going to win, I don't think they're going to win. So if you think the Chiefs are going to win, then those odds for the Eagles might drop a little bit. So maybe you're better off holding off. But I think that if you believe the Eagles are going to win, if you put the underdog mask on, if you're thinking this is revenge season for the Eagles, then place the bet now, because if they win, their odds are going to go down. I mean, I can see you right now. You're ready to place that futures bet on the Eagles as we speak. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing with futures. Like, you have to consider what could happen. And if you think they're going to win, now's the time, just like my guy right there.
Yeah, I'm going Birds money line. Hurts MVP, Birds Super Bowl. All three, I'm locking them in.
Love it. Right. I love it. I mean, look, I love the confidence. The Eagles have earned the confidence, and they could win the game.
You're scaring me a little bit, man. Because
yeah,
you're scaring me just a little bit, because there are so many people, and I know you're not one of them, that believe this is an ugly 8-1 team. I want to see them show us and show the world that they're the best team in the NFL. And I don't want them to sandbag in any sort of way. I want to have Hurts come out, dominate a team that I think the Birds can have. I really think they can. I really think that the Chiefs are not as strong a team as they were last year. I think maybe this is an opportunity for, to put to rest all of those 8-1 ugly team naysayers. And you're kind of not giving me much confidence going.
I'll say this. If you're an 8-1 naysayer, I don't want to hear from you on Tuesday, because the Monday night game does not change the first 9 games of this season. It's a beautiful 8-1. It's the best 8-1 in the NFL. It's the only 8-1 in the NFL. If they play this style of football they're playing right now, they can and probably will win the Super Bowl. The difference is Monday night is not the Super Bowl. It is a situational game. It is coming off of a bye week for the Chiefs. It is at Arrowhead. I just think Monday night is a tough spot. If the Eagles go there, and look, if they lose by 40 points, then yes, maybe we'll have that conversation. But if they go there and they're competitive and they lose, I will think no less of this team. Much like I thought no less of them when they lost the Super Bowl. They played a great game in the Super Bowl. They just made more mistakes than the Chiefs did. And I think now in Arrowhead, it's not going to be a win for him.
Aaron Sipos, the biggest error of them all, I think.
Well, he won't be there.
So, yeah, thank God. All right, so we got the spread pick. Let's talk about some prop bets.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, there's, the reports of his knee, we're not really sure when he did it. We're not really sure how truly healthy he is or not healthy he is. His over-under for rushing yards on Monday Night Football is at 35.5. Eliot, what are you doing with this prop bet from Jalen Hurts?
I'm taking the over. I think that Jalen, so first of all, I was at practice this week. Jalen looks refreshed. He does not have the sleeve or the brace, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't have it on. He himself said the bye week came at a great time. I believe him. And the other thing the reason I think he could get a lot of rushing yards is the Chiefs are really good against the pass. They're arguably the best pass defense in the entire NFL. So I think Jalen is going to be holding on to that ball. Jalen holds onto the ball already more than a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. And if these guys aren't open, he's going to run with it. The Chiefs are bad against the run. I know that doesn't equate apples to apples for stopping a quarterback from running it. But ultimately, they are good at holding the receivers. They're good at covering them. And I believe the Eagles offensive line will give Jalen time. So if he has time and he's sitting back there and no one's open, we know Jalen is going to take off. So feeling good, coming off of a bye week, rested, probably the healthiest he's been in weeks, and going against a secondary that holds receivers tight. I do believe Jalen's going to run it quite a bit. So when it comes to the over on rushing, I like almost all of them.
A rejuvenated Hurts equals an over on the 35.5 total rushing yards this weekend against the Chiefs. All right, I'm going to do some rapid fire with you. A.J. Brown, he's been electric. His over-under is sitting at 85.5 in terms of receiving yards. Mm-hmm. What do we got, A.J. Brown, this weekend versus the Chiefs? Are we going over or are we going under?
I'm going to go under. If you remember in the Super Bowl, he got fewer targets than Devontae Smith, and he had fewer yards than Devontae Smith. I think that the Chiefs' corners are better than they were last year. Trent McDuffie is a year older. He has more experience. He's had an outstanding season for them. And I think they're going to go in, especially with no Goddard, looking to take away A.J. Brown. So I would go with the under on A.J. Brown. But if you look at that Devontae Smith over, he had 100 yards in the Super Bowl. Should have had more if they weren't robbed of that catch along the sideline. I think he's somebody that could have a big game on Monday night, but I would take the under on A.J. Brown.
Fade A.J. Brown, and we're riding with Smitty. I like that. I like that angle there for you. Now, Travis Kelce, all the rage right now for the Swifties out there. Come on, 74 and a half.
I got the bracelets ready for Monday night. Like we're ready to go. I'm excited to see Taylor on Monday. Anyone that says they're not is lying. She's the biggest star in the world. I'm pumped to see her out there at the game.
Over under 10.5 times she's shown on the broadcast. We already know she's going to be in the building. Over under 10.5.
I'm going to go over. I think it's going to be one of the biggest stories of the game. I think you're going to see plenty of Taylor Swift, especially if Travis Kelce has a good game, which he very might will. We'll probably see a Travis Kelce touchdown and a Taylor Swift celebration. So Eagles fans might not want to hear it, but I think you're going to see a lot of Taylor on Monday night.
Oh, man. They've been boycotting her songs on the radio. You have a favorite Taylor Swift song?
I mean, Wildest Dreams is probably one of my favorite. I like Shake It Off. 22. There's a love story, obviously, that always bangs at the bar. Whenever that comes on, people go wild. So yeah, I mean, this is nothing but hits from Taylor Swift. You know that.
Well, in terms of the game, Travis Kelce over under 74.5 receiving yards. He's their only real weapon that I'm scared of, if you ask me. Who's going to be guarding him? How are they going to game plan for him? Do you have any insight there? And is he going to hit his over or go under 74.5 receiving yards?
So I would probably say over. I think Kelce's a tough matchup for them. Now, they do have Kevin Byard, who had success against him in Tennessee, has experience covering him from their time in the AFC. I talked to Kevin Byard this week in the locker room, and he gave a very detailed answer of the strengths of Travis Kelce and what he does well. So you could tell talking to him, this is a player that is experienced and know what he's getting into on Monday night. In fact, if he can shut Travis Kelce down, you could argue that 5th and 6th round pick they traded will be worth it for that game alone if it turns into a win. So I think you're going to see Byard on him quite a bit. Potentially Bradbury moves into the slot. But I think the key is the Chiefs are going to line him up on the inside. If you look at Travis Kelce, he has his best games when he works over the middle. When he has to move to the outside and they can't get it to him over the middle, he's far less effective. So the Eagles do have a weak middle part of the defense. I think it's going to be a struggle, but I think Kevin Byard is the player that they're going to hope can slow down Kelce.
Who's going to be getting him in the slot when he does that?
I think it'd be Byard. I think he's going to move up and cover him on the line. Yeah. So Byard has the ability to come up and play man coverage on the line if you need. I mean, I just don't think, Bradley Roby's going to be back. Maybe you have him do it, but he's a little bit undersized for the nickel spot. So I think it'll be Byard or potentially Bradbury, but it better be a committee, because if you shut Travis Kelce down, these Chiefs receivers are not very good. You can slow this offense down if you slow down Travis Kelce.
All right, let's go into the rushing attack for the Birds. I think you gave him a C at the bye.
Yes.
They've been leaking a little bit of oil in terms of being able to rush the football. I got over under 16.5 for Kenny Gainwell, and I got over under 58.5 for DeAndre Swift. If you had to choose, which back are you taking and which prop would you take, over under? Whose over would you take? Let's say that. Whose over would you take?
I mean, obviously, if I'm picking either running back to go with the over, I would take Gainwell just because it's considerably lower. And I think they're going to run the ball against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. They blitz quite a bit, which leaves you exposed to the run, especially if you're handing it off out of the shotgun. And the Eagles want to run the ball. They were unable to do it in the Super Bowl, but I think the Chiefs are worse against the run than they were, but they're also getting Cam Jurgens back. I think the Eagles believe Cam Jurgens being out of the running game has drastically impacted their ability to run the ball. He will be healthy or at least he'll be playing on Monday night, and he's healthy enough to be out there. So we know how much they like Gainwell. We know how much they like to give it to him, despite fans not wanting to see Gainwell on the field. So over the 16.5, I would probably I would definitely go on the over on that. With DeAndre Swift, I feel like I've been burned so many times by Swift. It's hard for me to say that you should go over. But 58.5, again, they could be playing clock control. If they get a lead, they're going to run the ball, and the Chiefs cannot stop the run. So I like the Gainwell over more. But if you want to sprinkle a little on Swift, I wouldn't blame you.
Little sprinkle.
Little something.
All right, Elliot, one more for you. Who's going to have more rushing yards in the game? You got the Chiefs defense, which is, middle of the pack in terms of stopping the run. You said that they're pretty lousy.
Yeah,
the Birds are great.
Yeah.
Birds are great against stopping the run. So is it going to be more rushing yards, Isaiah Pacheco or DeAndre Swift on Monday Night Football? Pacheco is currently at plus 115 and Swift is at minus 150. Who you got?
Yeah, well, I hate betting minus odds. So I would maybe not bet Swift, but I think Swift is probably the better answer. The Eagles are excellent at stopping the run. It's why they give up so many passing yards. Not many teams try to run on the Eagles, and they love to throw it on them. So if you're talking just rushing yards, I think there's a better chance Swift has more rushing yards than Isaiah Pacheco.
I love it. All right, last question. Is Taylor Swift a fraud Eagles fan now?
Well, we'll see what she wears on Monday, right? Like, this is her chance. If she shows up, look, if I were her, I would wear a Jason Kelce jersey. You support the brother, you support the family, but you also support the team. I think you're poking fun at Travis a little, so I think, there's some fun there. But we shall see. Obviously, if she's a true Eagles fan, though, the Super Bowl loss must still be in her head. So we'll find out Monday night.
Well, I got a prediction for you. The Birds are going to be up big in the fourth quarter. She's going to pull off her Chiefs memorabilia, her Chiefs, and reveal a Philadelphia Eagles shirt.
There you go.
It's going to throw us all in the tailspin. That's my hottest take.
It would break the internet. I'll tell you that right now.
That'll break the internet right there for sure. All right, Elliot, we'll let you go. Good luck over at practice. I know you're heading out over there. Another edition of Bet the Birds is in the books, and we'll see you again next week.
Sounds good. Talk to you next week, man.